Good morning, viewers. This is Susan at Butler Family Farm. Welcome back to our channel. Today's video is part of an open collaboration in observance of Earth Day, which this year is April 22nd. Here at Butler Family Farm, we are always looking for ways to repurpose and reuse materials, and we'd like to be able to stay environmentally correct. So I'd like to invite you to come along with us and see what we've done. So last fall, I collected a bunch of hay that Gunnar had thrown out from the feeder onto the parkway, and it was reusable. And at that time I was beefing up my chicken coop, which has some inside. I've since taken two of these yellow buckets where I've had them stored underneath the trailer here, slide out for weather purposes. I've taken two out to my goats and beefed up their hut community so that, you know, because if they're in there, they're using it, you know, it's a porta potty type place too. So anywho, I've used two of them out there, and then today I brought some more water out for the chickens, and I thought, hey, you know, they don't like standing snow, so I'll spread some around out here on the ground for them because I've got some water out here for them, and I circled the water with the hay. So here's another recycle, repurpose, reuse. Hay for bedding and rugs. Hello viewers, welcome back to Butler Family Farm. Susan and Robert, and we're down here at the milk parlor we worked on a few days ago to bring back the 10 pieces that we're going to reuse on our nursery building. And I think I've got, there's a lot of wind. I'm going to go over there and help Robert, so there'll be just some viewing to watch, no words. The grandson's standing there in the doorway watching us. So we decided to drag these pieces over because the wind, I got it. The wind is blowing 20 miles right now from the south, and we didn't want wind to be catching up and flipping everything over. So I'm going to help Robert. So we're all set up. We're going to drive back down to our end of the property and unload this in one of the tunnels where we've got some other metal. And again, the point of these pieces is recycle, repurpose, reuse on our nursery project. We have a lot of large juice bottles, and then in this case it's Ocean Spray Cranberry, that we take this container and we make a scoop. And I use this one for my feed for the chickens. But I like to have a few on hand because eventually this plastic's going to break down or whatever. So I stockpile these juice bottles with this pretty sturdy, pretty hard plastic handle. I don't have one that's complete, but this is the top off of a 55-gallon barrel that we took the tops off for the 3 fruit trees, and then this is the 4th one, and it had some liquid in it that we washed out before we've put anything in here. I used this bottom half for potatoes last year, sweet potatoes last year. Last year we actually found these, bought these from a farmer up north, and they are cattle protein tubs with, I believe it's mineral that's inside, and people save these. Well, we wanted to do some self-wicking planting last year. Jerry wanted to try that, so we took this tub and turned it into this planter, which is a wicking system. The water goes down into the white water through the white pipe, and there's a hose down inside here with holes in it, I believe, and we've got landscape cloth in here with the dirt. So that's another farm use, recycle, and repurposing. We also recycled the cattle mineral tubs into our temporary orchard pots, and there's one of those, the bottom half of one of those blue totes that were cut, and I'm using the tops for lettuce and radishes and any short-rooted vegetable. And these are the originals for the vegetables that I'm going to use that I showed you at the first part of this clip. And these are the bare root fruit trees that we planted in them. So we've used these blue tubs for a lot of stuff. They're 55-gallon containers that we have cut in various sizes. A couple years ago, driving down main roads, we'd see the electric company replacing the poles. And Jerry stopped by and said, "What do you guys do with the old poles?" And they said, "Well, they hauled them off." And he said, "Well, if I come and get them, and take them off, and not be charged or anything, can I do that?" And so he worked, and they said, this particular company said, "Sure." So they let us know whenever there was, poles in a certain area. And as Jerry at that time was still working, Lee and I would go out and cut these telephone poles into, I think it was 8-foot lengths. And they became part of our fencing project in strategic places such as the corners of a field. This particular area is going to be the new entrance when we get the fence up and a gate across here. But some of these poles were pretty long, and had some good reuse to them. Sometimes we were able to cut them up and get 2 8-foot and a 7-foot. So I think we need a few more to use out in our orchards, so we're keeping our eyes open. But otherwise they just would have, I think, just burned them away. I've been collecting these 4-gallon buckets from the local jam shop down the road after they've emptied out the product that's inside. In this particular case, I think it's blackberry. You can still see residue in there because I'll have to clean it out before I use it. But they'll stack anywhere from 4 to 6 outside by the driveway with the lids, and it's first come first serve. So we are taking 20 of these buckets this year and And we're drilling holes, 4 holes, about maybe it's an inch up, in the buckets to make container planters for, in this case, these are going to be for the tomatoes that Jerry's got transplanted in the house, but we'll use them for whatever we come across. Have a bunch that have a single hole at the bottom so that they sit inside the tub, and I fill the bucket up with water during, I'll probably be starting doing that in maybe April, probably May, to make sure it's so that it's a slow drip for the trees. New this year, we are going to use the IBC totes cut in half, cleaned out, and we're going to make raised beds with them. And when we do a garden video, after we get everything set up, you'll see these IBC totes with our veggie plants in them. Our original use of the totes was to cut a doorway of sorts, turn them upside down. You can see here's what the pallet part is, and make huts out of them for bottle calves that we were raising a few years back. And since that time, we've added more to our collection, and we've made a goat community of sorts, if you want to call it, and made these huts for the goats that they used over the winter and whenever it rains, because our goats do not like to get wet. Right now I think we got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 out here. So but as I said, this was our original use of the huts. Last year when we decided to make a shade tree area and also put some trees out that make shade out for our dogs, we came up with the idea that if we just cut the top off of these totes, then we could plant a tree in there. And as you can see, these are still on their pallets, and we've just taken the top off. So it's another great use for these IBC totes. I don't know what happens to them if they're not used. I know where I have my resource, they are just stacked on top of each other and just sitting out there. See out there that we've got, you can see 2, but there's actually 3 more totes for the other 3 trees that we've got to plant. So that's the big tote. Recycle, repurpose, reuse. And I hope you've enjoyed this video, and put your thinking cap on to see what you can do. You don't have to be a farm or to do this kind of stuff. You can, one thing I can think of off the top of my head is that using Levi jeans or blue jeans, I've made wallets out of them. I know people that have made pot holders, quilts out of them. There's, you know, all kinds of things out there that you probably have at home that you can use up. So just put your thinking cap on and see what you can do. We hope you've enjoyed this video and be inspired to look around your home to see what you can repurpose, recycle, reduce by rethinking and reusing. One thing I didn't show in this video is the use of jeans. They can be made into pot holders, wallets that I've done for Jerry and Robert, and even quilts. Remember to think of the earth for our future generations.